Good morning everyone, how are you doing? This is Amanda, I do hope that you're well. Today is the 16th of February 2023 and we're going to be looking at two particular subjects in this video. We're going to start off with looking at the energy behind the balloons in the sky that have been either shot down or identified in parts of America and Canada. Going to look at the energy behind that. The second part of this video is going to be what Metatron is calling a clean-up operation, some guidance and help and support for those people that are affected by the huge chemical spillage, accident, explosion in East Palestine, Ohio over the last few days. I don't believe it's being particularly reported in parts of America. It is being reported in other parts of the world. And also I have clients that are in Ohio that are giving me first-hand accounts also of what they are experiencing. So I thought the best help that I could give with regards to that is to bring through some practical suggestions, some spiritual tools and help to aid in that cleanup operation, linking into the environment, linking into you as people that may be affected by it with regards to your health, animals, etc. That will be the second part of this video. I'll put a timestamp if you want to jump to that straight away. But I think I will start with the balloons, okay? So this video does rather assume that you do know what I'm talking about. I think most people are aware of the stories that have been running in the media over the last couple of weeks in relation to these unidentified flying objects, maybe UFOs, maybe not, probably not to be honest, but certainly technology in the shape of a balloon that has been flying into foreign airspace and being shot down. So we're going to have a look at that and see what we get. I'm going to pull some cards on it as well as give my own intuitive hits. And there is a particular deck that I'm really looking forward to. Yeah, I am looking forward to getting my hands on and using in this session because I haven't pulled any cards off camera. It's the Japanese Tarot, one of my favourite decks. Those of you that follow me know I've often used this deck, particularly for pithy subjects. So Metatron is saying to me to use this deck, and that is because there is probably particular imagery in this deck that is important, okay? So let's do that. Shall we start with that? What I will say just to introduce the subject though, is that I'm sure many of you might have watched other videos on this or have your own impressions as to what you think is going on. There seem to be many different theories flying around, from the fact that these are alien craft, UFOs, or a form of false disclosure, i.e. powers that might be trying to make us think that they are UFOs to prepare us for some eventual disclosure. That is one theory that's doing the rounds. Project Bluebeam is also being mentioned in various circles. If you don't know what that is, the gist of it is that it is, again, a fake, illusionary technology which is able to put holograms into the sky that appear to be certain things for ulterior purposes. So is it that? I'm going to bring in the energy of Commander Ashtar, who is one of my guides, Galactic Federation of Light, and also Archangel Metatron. And I will just say, before getting in too deep, I really feel that the energy of Ashtar with regard to these objects, let's just call them objects, being UFOs belonging to them, is pretty hysterical, because I just get the energy from him, which is like, you think we couldn't do better than that, okay? Do you think our craft are actually that simplistic and look like that? It's almost like a raised eyebrow. So the technologies are way more advanced than that. But anyway, we will get into that and more of what he has to say in a moment. But it does strike me that both of these subjects that we're discussing today, the balloons and the Ohio chemical disaster, they're both airborne incidents which are in the news. And if you followed me for a few years, you will know that the energy of air and not wanting to look at what is in our air and connect into the energy of breath has been very low down in our priorities as a collective. The sprays that we make and we sell are energy products, and the air elemental spray has been bottom of the pile for quite a few years, even though there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's a brilliant spray. It reflects the collective's desire to not want to look at what is in our air and to connect to the energy of air. But of course, with this Aquarian energy, which we're moving more and more into now, the Aquarian age, which is the energy of the mind, it connects into the element of air. We're going to be embracing this whole theme more and more. So being aware of what is in our air in terms of what we breathe, whether it is toxic, whether it is healthy, what the air in our body is like, which also is related to the thoughts that we give it. It's not just the waters in our body and the blood in our body that reflects our programming, but also our own thoughts that we put into it. It's also the air in our body. And so, this is going to become more and more of a theme. We're going to keep coming back to this. Right, let's pull some cards then with regard to the balloons. And the first thing I will say actually is when I first heard of these happenings, what came to me was a TV series that I'd been watching just before the war in Ukraine broke out. And it was an interesting timing more than anything else. It was a series, and I don't know, those of you in the UK might have watched it. I think it was called something like Submarine. It probably was Submarine. And it was basically a fly on the wall documentary about what it is like to live in a submarine. Obviously, with regards to being a military personnel, these were military submarines. And it took you into a whole other realm, a whole other world, where obviously the subs are beneath the sea for months on end. There is a whole subculture, there is a whole consciousness that exists there. There are different rules, different norms, etc., having to get used to confined space. But the thing that particularly stayed with me was it might sound obvious, but it's not, I don't think. It's not something we often consider, which is that the war that basically has been going on for years within our seas that we don't necessarily see, we don't necessarily hear about in the news, we're not aware of, but particularly beneath the ocean. So there were a few incidents that were reported in this TV series where the subs were basically seeing off other subs belonging to other countries, let's not make it political, okay, that were invading sea space. And so, our sub was basically, patrolling our waters. It just opened my mind up to this unseen war beneath the ocean that most of us aren't even aware of and has been going on for many, many years. It's part and parcel in many ways of everyday life. And when I heard about these balloons, but the thing is, the point I'm trying to make is that I became aware of it. When I heard about the balloons, it was almost this energy of this type of, I want to say warfare, and we might call it psychological warfare, or we might call it just warfare, has been going on for many, many years. It's just we haven't actually seen it, or we haven't been allowed to see it. So the first hit that I got intuitively was that these balloons, for want of a better word, have been showing up in airspace for many years in many parts of the world, not just in America, not just in Canada, It also felt as though it was an energy where we had also been doing it to them, whoever you believe they are, okay? So we also have the technology to send up, if you believe, for example, it's spycraft in some shape or form, into whether it be other people's waters of the sea, or whether it being to other people's airspace, above. As above, so below. This is nothing new. What is new is that it is actually being reported. And the question we have to ask ourselves is, why is it being reported now? Why are we being even allowed to discuss it? So that was the first thing I got, that this is nothing new. The second one, and many of you I know also probably have felt this, and I did put up the lyrics on Facebook and Instagram a few days ago. I think some people didn't quite get why I was putting the lyrics up. I thought it was obvious, but the lyrics to Nana's 99 Red Balloons, 99 Love Balloons, beautiful German song that made #1, certainly across all of Europe in the late 1980s, I believe, maybe early 90s. I think it was late 80s. And that song, the lyrics are very, very interesting for right now. And I kept having the song going round and round in my head. And effectively, this song was written at the height of the Cold War, when there was a lot of fear of the Russian threat, for example. And there was the threat also of nuclear war. You can read the lyrics for yourself. I'll put the song below so you can listen to it. It's a catchy little ditty, but actually the lyrics are much deeper and darker than many people think they are when they're just humming the very hummable tune. So a couple of the lines from this song, because I think this is all related to where we are now with the balloons in the sky. You and I in a little toy shop, buy a bag of balloons with the money we've got. Set them free at the break of dawn, till one by one they were gone. Back at base, sparks in the software, flash the message, something's out there. Floating in the summer sky, 99 red balloons go by. 99 red balloons floating in the summer sky. Panic bells, it's red alert. There's something here from somewhere else. The war machine springs to life, opens up one eager eye, focusing it on the sky as the 99 red balloons go by. 99 Decision Street, 99 ministers meet to worry, super scurry, call the troops out in a hurry. This is what we've waited for. This is it, boys. This is war. The president is on the line as 99 red balloons go by. 99 knights of the air ride super high-tech jet fighters. Everyone's a superhero, everyone's a Captain Kirk, with orders to identify, to classify and clarify, scrambling the summer sky as 99 red balloons go by. 99 dreams I have had, in every one a red balloon. It's all over and I'm standing pretty in this dust that was a city. If I could find a souvenir just to prove the world was here, and here it is, a red balloon, I think of you and let it go. Those words, written late 80s, were relevant for the time that it was written in. They're relevant for now. They express the desire of the war machine to have a reason to spring into action. And we should be very cautious in terms of whether we are being played or not. I did say on social media this week that trying to turn a negative into a positive, so I'm just trying to get something up on my screen. You could listen to that song and you could change the energy of 99 red balloons to 99 red hearts, for example, the energy of love. Imagine if we had capsules of love floating in the sky, okay, rather than some unidentified potential threat that we are putting a lot of fear into because we don't understand what it is. I'm going to pull this deck in a minute, but I did pull a couple of cards off camera last night. I like to tune into a subject before I come on, as you know. And these three cards were really interesting. It's from a deck called Becoming Dragon that I've mentioned before, which is very dualistic. It shows dualistic energies. And we have these three. This one says, this was the first one actually that came out. And it says, self-forgetting and know thyself. So it's an energy of the human being, you and I, having forgotten maybe our infinite power, who we actually really are, forgotten maybe our place in the world, etc. But there is an axis here where even though there's a majority of the population at the moment who are very lost, who feel almost like ghost people in terms of having given away a lot of their power, and I'm talking about divine power here, not sovereign, not empowered, easily led, easily manipulated. On the other end of the axis, we have this divine human being, crystalline human being, that actually knows that they are a child of light. So it's almost like an axis of, on one hand, quite empty, not wanting to know, very apathetic, for whatever reason. And then on the other end of the axis, the person who has stepped fully into their light and knows thyself, understands the world at a much deeper level. We have with this energy, again, the energy of panic. And what does that say? Incubate and panic. So what are we being asked to incubate here? When we see balloons in the sky, do we step into our sovereignty or do we step into panic? What do we incubate? And then the third card that came out that I thought was very, very telling, I didn't even know this card was in the deck, shows masks. Reminds me very much of a play or a cinema film. I mean, I don't know whether Independence Day is the right film to reference here, but this whole, I mean, I can't take it too seriously, to be honest. I have to be honest. I can't take this too seriously because it's almost as though the drama that is being played up and the way that it is being whipped up at this particular time feels as though we're in a film script. And indeed, maybe we are. Okay, so it's scripted that there is an energy of wanting you to panic, wanting you to feel small, wanting you to feel afraid, wanting you to rely on the big, hero to come in and save us, as is always the case in any film, whether it's Independence Day or any of the others. But here we've got, this to me is a card of being played. We have the energy of annoyance and understanding, but I think it's with regards to the game of charades, the smoke and mirrors that we have in our world at this moment in time that many people are waking up to. Are we annoyed by that? And then what do we do with that annoyance and that anger? Don't keep it within yourself because then it just festers and turns toxic. And don't become some fundamentalist bore either who just preaches to everybody what they don't know because everybody's at the place where they're meant to be. But I guess we have to fuel that anger at the injustices we see in our world and the fact that often we are being played, particularly by the media, into a more positive energy within ourselves. And that comes back to trying to stay in our sovereignty, to be the most powerful version of light warrior that we can, because by doing that, we flip the script, okay? But yeah, there's other people who are just totally understanding and wanting to listen to everything that the directors and the producers of the film might be wanting to incubate within ourselves. I also pulled two cards from the Metatron deck, my own deck. I wasn't sure if I was actually going to get a message from this deck with regards to this subject of the balloons. But I thought, no, come on, it's my deck, it's a good deck, let's trust it. And yeah, there was a message. And these were the two cards that came out. First off, we get the energy of the air elemental, for obvious reason, the balloons are in the sky. And then we have the card of the family. Let me just try and tune into this now in terms of what Metatron is wanting to say with these two cards. And I think I'll pull a third card on camera to go with these two, please, Metatron. So we have, with regard to the balloons in the sky at the moment, we have the card of freedom and air. We have the card of family, circles of life. which immediately made me think of family in a much wider sense of the world, galactic world, soul family, star families that are out there. So even if this is a false energy that's we're being manipulated in some way, maybe these balloons aren't from the people that you think they're from, etc. It might still serve a purpose in waking some people up to the fact that actually there could be other life out there. And that can sometimes only be a good thing, because we are just one dot in a much bigger universe. Okay, there were 3 cards that flew out, and let's just see what these are. We have the card of fear, conquering fear. So Metatron is saying that do not allow this situation to induce any fear. And to be perfectly honest, I've not met anybody who's in fear about this. But it's quite interesting, because I do think the producers and directors of the show are hoping that, put it this way, if you believe that this is something that's been manipulated, it's certainly being promoted over and above other stories that are maybe more worthwhile, is the agenda to basically create fear. I've not met anybody that is in fear at all about this. I really haven't. But maybe they are out there, okay? Maybe they are out there. And I guess they must be, because I've got this card. So Metatron's saying, don't let fear, where's that other card? Panic. Don't let fear and panic dominate or be generated. And if you feel like that, even to be honest, if you feel it's positive that there might be other life in the universe, maybe you've never considered that before. For many of us, it's more of an affirmation that, well, we know there is. But say you haven't, I guess that can make your world crumble a little bit. There's always been a theory, for want of a better word, that one of the reasons why disclosure hasn't fully happened yet is that the powers that were fear that becoming known, because if that becomes known, it crumbles a lot of people's beliefs, particularly fundamentalist religious beliefs, that the world is only one way. There is only one way of looking at it, that this is all there is. Suddenly you've got aliens and UFOs turning up. It shatters many people's matrix. So in that sense, some people might be feeling very vulnerable, maybe very shaken up. And if that is the case, the angels are there to help absorb that shock, like a shock absorber is what Metatron is saying. Now we've also got the card of Mother Earth, and we have the card of water, go with the flow, but they came in an upside down position. Now those of you that have bought my deck know that in the book I say we didn't actually create this deck to be read, reversals weren't the intention when we made the deck. But hey, everything evolves, you know, everything evolves. Never say never. Metatron has given these 2 in the reverse position. So the balloons in the sky, what they're doing for some is that they are turning the world upside down. The world as we know it might be very different. It could also be that some people are waking up to the fact that maybe some of these balloons aren't actually sent by an enemy state. Maybe they are actually sent by our own regimes, governments, for other purposes. Okay, I'm not saying that I necessarily think that is true, but I certainly think it's a worthwhile consideration. There are many, I'm seeing just a hall of mirrors, many different reflections, many different truths, many different ways that different people are going to interpret this. And none of them are essentially wrong for that individual person. So if it wakes you up to, my gosh, actually, I've been a very fundamentalist and I've always thought the world was just that way and this is what happens after I die and there's only the human being in the whole universe. Hold on a minute, I'm really shaken up now because maybe there are UFOs. Our government is even saying potentially this could have been a UFO. Are they preparing us for something? Walls come crumbling down. That is one truth. There are other people that feel that it's a big play and a manipulation. That is your truth. There are other, alternatives. So your world really being rocked, the collective's world being rocked a little bit by this. It's certainly unusual. I've lived 5 decades on this planet now. I don't remember a time where we've been seeing this in the news, so it's different. It's making people, maybe I'm being shown the Hanged Man in the tarot, you know, consider a different perspective, which can be good. But we've got the energy of go with the flow, but this is stagnant. This is stagnant. This is not being able to go with the flow for whatever reason. What do you mean by that, Metatron? Let me just pull one more card. Why have we got go with the flow in a reverse position, please? Right, okay, we've got the void that came out. The void. That for some people, remember I'm reading for the whole collective here. I'm reading for people that are never going to watch this video. For some people, there is an inability. These balloons almost present a tipping point moment or a crossroads moment where the way that I thought things were and the river that I was flowing down quite happily, that this is the way things are, I'm being stopped, I'm being blocked, I'm being forced to stop and consider what is in the void. Okay, what is in the void? What is in the darkness? What is out there? Okay. Good old Captain Kirk, to go where no man has boldly gone before, to go into the void. And by nature of the beast, you don't know what you're going to find when you go into that void. So it's shaking up some people's world. So those cards were brilliant, actually. I think they answered or gave a perspective very nicely. Thank you very much, Metatron. I will just show you this picture. I don't know if this is going to come out very well on this video. Okay, I did post this photograph yesterday on Facebook and Instagram. I can't post it as a comment on YouTube in the video comments, but maybe you can see this, maybe you can't, but you can certainly look it up yourself. This was just a photograph that caught my eye yesterday. It was in one of the British newspapers, and it's basically just showing the falling debris. So the balloon effectively having been shot down and it's falling to the sky. What's interesting is that the shape of the hit balloon, for want of a better word, looks very much, my first thought was it looks very much like a Neanderthal skull, okay? And I can't remember what video it was, but certainly a couple of videos back, oh, it was the comet, wasn't it? The video I did on the comet, I was talking about the last remnants of Neanderthal man's energy, which exists in both men and women, being on the way out with this comet, and the arrival of crystalline man, you know, mankind, womankind, they kind, you know, all of that. But so this feels very Neanderthal energy on the way out, like the balloon that's just being deflated and falling to earth. But the other thing about this image is there are a lot of faces in the in this debris above. There's a very defined face there. Now, a lot of you were saying it looks like Tesla. I have to say, I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong in that, because remember, we all see different things. I actually saw a different face in it, which I didn't particularly like the energy of the face. I think it looks a bit Hitler-like, actually. I don't know if you can see it. You probably can't see it here, but I'm just going to say there's 2 eyes, there's a nose. It looks like a little moustache, but to me that looks a bit like a Hitler energy. But, you know, at the end of the day, that face is synonymous with probably all aspects of humanity. It definitely looks like it's a male face, I will say that. And it's got big googly eyes. And there's also other faces as well. There's other faces in the photograph. What I'll do, I'll link the news article that it was in. I think it was just something like the Daily Mail or the Daily Whale that I call it. And then you can see for yourself, you can have a look. But there's definitely faces in this. Multiple faces, and there's definitely the energy of the skull as well. In fact, it almost looks quite chimpanzee-like now. That skull as well. It's like a not chimpanzee, like an ape. It's like going back even further in time. Let me bring in Ashtar now at this point. Let's see what he wants to say about this. So I'm using my Commander Ashtar spray. I'll get to the cards in a minute. Let's just see the Ashtar energy. So looking at this in particular, let me see through Ashtar's eyes. see what we can get. Balloons in the sky. Well, that's interesting. You know, I've said before that I believe that the nuclear facilities on our planet are galactically protected. That's not to say there can't be an incident, but I do believe, and I've always been shown by Ashtar and the Galactics, that they will not allow an annihilation of the planet. You might get a disaster, but you're not going to get annihilation of the planet. So it's almost as though they hover over these nuclear facilities. I'm seeing, he's not showing me what is in this, but he's showing me that he is above it, or his energy, his fleet are above it. So it's almost as though they are, it's really interesting, they are watching these balloons as closely as we might be watching the balloons. So you've got the energy of people on Earth looking up, because I feel as this is something that's going to carry on. Now that we can see them, what I was saying about the submarines under the sea and becoming aware of that type of warfare, now we know, you know, that's going to become, there's something there that's going to be coming more to the fore as well. But also the seas and the skies, we're going to become much more aware of what's always been going on. This other realm, this other form of warfare. So as we're looking up and becoming more observant of that, I'm also getting that they, the Galactic Fleet, are looking down on this new, it's not new, but this energy that we are now fixated on. Okay, I'm going to ask the question, is it your technology, Ashtar? Was it a UFO? In terms of a galactic UFO? I'm being shown your classic UFO shape, I suppose, which is a huge saucer. But this is massive. This is so massive that it actually covers the whole circumference of the Earth. And he is saying that from that, there can be, this isn't what they would call it, but what we would understand to be parachutes. Parachutes that can come from this mothership, basically. But I'm not convinced that what we're seeing in terms of these balloons are from that ship. No, I don't think so. I'm not feeling that. But I am being shown that they parachute in things to our atmosphere. But it feels as though it's more to do with actually seeding souls rather than some big gassy balloon that I'm not feeling that. Let me just pull a couple of cards for Ashtar, if I may. And I'm going to go to a sort of galactic deck. Well, no, it is a galactic deck. I don't know why I said that. Okay, it's the Magical Dimensions deck. Right, let me just, these two cards just fell out, but I haven't actually shuffled the deck, and these are ones that I showed in my last video, I think, so could still be in the energy of having not shuffled the deck, but I'll show them anyway. It's the energy of mythical realms and liberation. Okay, he's saying they are relevant, okay, because those of you that watch every video that I do, you'll be able to follow this better than maybe other people. I talked about the energy of mythical time in my twin flame video, and we had it with this card, the card of liberation. Mythical time is beyond space, beyond space and time. It's a different realm in which many things are possible that we don't necessarily, wouldn't be able to understand at a 3D level. Whatever these balloons are helping us as a collective move more towards the energy of freedom. I'm hearing to reclaim the skies. But not in a way of like, I'm going to shoot it down because I don't understand what it is. More appreciating that everything that is of this earth belongs to us and is of us. Let me just see what else I can get. Okay, so Ashtar, the balloons. Just show me what they are, please. Show me what they are, the balloons. Show me what they are, Ashtar. Yeah, whatever they are. Okay, this is interesting. He's saying that whoever is behind it, whether it is of a malicious intent, whether it's there to scare, whether it's there to cause panic, whether it's there to try and generate some form of new war. Now we have a new war in the sky, a new war against them, you know, the aliens now. You know, we can't get enough of fighting each other on Earth. Now we've got to fight imaginary creatures that we can't even see, you know. But whatever you believe the purpose is behind it, this actually backfires on anybody that's trying to do something malicious or manipulative, because it takes us further into an awakening moment. It wakes more people up. It wakes more people up. Expansion, memories, and insights. We're reminded of times where we've seen crafts in the sky. Okay, I'm realizing now where he's shown me the great big mothership. And it's like, I remember what UFOs really look like because I've seen them. Maybe not in this incarnation, but I've seen them in other incarnations, or I've been in one. And they don't look like that piddly balloon that's just been shot down, okay? They don't look like that. They don't look like that, okay? This feels man-made. They don't look like that. I'm remembering another time when I was connected into something much bigger than myself. When I rode the seas and I sailed the seas and I rode the sky, and I'm being shown a mythical time, but it's a real time, mythical time. What I talked about in my last video, it's as real as 3D time. And there I rode on the back of dragons. I rode in ships in the sky. I sat with my galactic brothers and sisters that didn't look like me, you know, or you, looked different, and I was at peace with that. I'm remembering that time. And you're trying to tell me that this is them? No. So any form of fake disclosure isn't going to work. I mean, there's always going to be a proportion of the people that fall for it, but there's a much bigger movement more towards awakening and illumination. Okay, I did say I wanted to use this other deck, so let's use it. I'm aware I've gone on for 37 minutes, and I want to get to the Ohio video as well. I could do it in a separate video. We'll see how we go. Okay. Metatron says don't rush it. Okay. He's saying people know we take our time because we have all the time in the world. Yes. Louis Armstrong, we have all the time in the world. Mm-hmm. Because there seems to be the energy at play, how we're being played, how we're being manipulated, is that we're running out of time. We're running out of time. This is end times. We've now got balloons in the sky. We've got this happening. We've got that happening. We're in end times. No, we've got all of the time in the world. The world isn't about to stop spinning. You and I aren't necessarily about to stop incarnating unless we choose to. Okay. Right, let's get back to the balloons. What does this deck want to say? What does this deck want to say? It might be something different. Might be something new. Sorry, it might be something different. Might be something we've already said. This deck, the balloons. Okay. What is this deck wanting to say? What is this deck wanting to say, please? Balloons in the sky. Show me the energy. Okay, I'll show you the first three, and then the fourth I need clarification on. The first two, the Queen of Winds and the Jester of Winds is the element of air. Okay. We know it's in the air. What's that telling us? Not quite sure yet. But we have the energy of temperance. So I keep hearing a lot of hot air. A lot of hot air. A lot of gas. Okay. Let's get the balance. Let's get the balance here. Let's bring things back into balance. Let's bring things back into harmony. I don't know who I'm saying this to. I almost feel I'm saying this to the people that have maybe created this technology in these balloons. You've had your fun. You've had your fun. You've gone as high on the swing as you possibly could. You've taken it as high as you possibly could. How high can these balloons go? Very, very high. You've taken it as high as you could. Let's now bring it back. Calm it down. Balance it out. Harmonize it. Fourth card is the card of death. I want to clarify. I don't understand what it's trying to... Oh. Hold on. Can you see the skull? What was I just saying? The skull? That is clearly a skull. I mean, it is. Whether you think it's an ape skull, a human skull, it looks like a skull. Skull. Death. Six of Gardens on the bottom of the deck. Giving and receiving. Let me just pull a few other cards. I think I know what it's trying to say. I just want to make sure I'm correct before saying it. Ooh, right, that fell out. Hold on. Ace of Wands. Do you remember classic Batman? I'm going back to, I'm a child of the 60s and 70s. Now, classic Batman, maybe new Batman, the new films, had Batman, and then it used to flash up in a great big, it was like a hologram, basically. It was like a hologram. It was, and you saw his bat. You saw his bat symbol in this flash of light. It was like a spotlight. Batman. That's what. There's something here about. Bat's a symbol of rebirth, transformation. This feels like the energy of the balloon. It's like shining. It's like I'm feeling as though. It's quite funny. Let's try and lighten it. It's almost as though there's this sort of wizard behind the curtain, pressing his buttons, sending out these little devices, balloons, whatever you want to call them, to here, to there, putting on a bit of a show. You know, it's showtime. You know, I wonder who the Joker is. It's showtime. Let's scare them witless. It's not going to happen, though. I don't think people are frightened. Six of Gardens. The energy of give and receive. Simpler energy. Local energy. Helping each other. Balancing out this madness and this drama. This melodrama that's in the sky, this big show, all created by this energy of air. Look at this. 6 cards, 3 of them are the energy of air. Look up into the air, look up into the skies. How high can we go? How big can we make the drama? Look what could happen. Returning to this, returning to each other. Maybe also understanding that even if it was a real UFO in the sky, that they're actually part of us anyway. Why do we always think that they have to be the enemy? It's because human beings can't help it. We see everybody as our enemy. Well, not everybody, but you know, I'm talking about the collective, human collective, the history of war across our planet. Let me just have another couple of cards on the Six of Gardens. And then I'm going to move on to Ohio. Anything else we can get? Strength. I love that. I love that card. I'll show you in a minute. 5 of Tides. Okay. The 3 of... Look at that. Okay, look at that. Okay, so as it deflates, as it gets shot down and gets deflated, there's a big show of strength. You know, hey, you know, aren't we great? We've shot it down. Shot the balloon down. Love that. What are you trying to say over and above that? The energy of love and the Fool. It's what I said about the 99 Red Balloon song. Imagine, rather than fearing what, you know, because some people are really fearing what's in these balloons, you know, is it poison? Is it some horrible bioweapon? All of that type of stuff. So it gets shot down and then everybody goes into complete and utter panic and fear. Oh my God. What about if we imagined that it was love that was raining down in the debris? So whose face do you see in that? Do you see a face of Hitler or do you see a face of Jesus? Okay. It's what I believe, for example, this is a whole other subject and I don't want the comments dominated by this, please, please, please. But my personal view with chemtrails, for example, is if you believe that to be true, I'm not going to get into the whole debate here. I believe in the power of transmutation. So I believe that even if there is something up there in the sky, I have the ability to be able to transmute that energy. And what has been potentially sprayed can be transmuted to love. So a lot of the work we've done with Prince in particular, I think there was a channeling where we were looking at purple rain, you know, purple rain, bringing in the purple rain, transmuting anything that's in the sky. Okay, so I think I'm going to leave that there for now. I've had a little explore with it. The main thing is to not fear, basically, not fear it. See it for what it is, which is actually, it may very well be a tool of awakening. Whoever's doing it, for whatever purpose. It's almost as though whatever they try to do, you cannot stop the awakening of this planet. We're on course to awaken, and we will. So always remember that, my friends, always remember that. Don't get into the fear energy and try not to get into the us versus them energy as well, that it's this country, it's that country, it's country against country. Because remember what I saw right at the beginning, that this has been going on for a long time and we definitely do it to them, whoever you believe they are, just as much as they do it to us. It's just we're seeing it now. Okay, we're seeing it. Right, let's move on to another subject now, and this is a difficult one, and I believe it's one that's not being particularly reported in parts of America. I can't remember how I became aware of this story. It might have just been on a comment on a video or Facebook or something like that, and somebody, it was a few days ago, somebody was talking about, have you heard about the disaster in Ohio? So I went onto Twitter for whatever reason. I'm not on Twitter, by the way, but I went onto Twitter. And Twitter can sometimes be full of just twits, okay, who just tweet nonsense. But equally, there's also some good stuff on Twitter. All social media platforms have both good and bad, which is why we have to be so capable of learning discernment. I noticed that in the UK, there was a hashtag trending, which was Ohio Chernobyl. That was the hashtag, Ohio Chernobyl. And I thought, right, I'm going to look at this. And effectively, let me just go to a news source because it has been reported. This is today, I'm making this on Thursday, the 16th. The New York Times are covering it now. Greenpeace are talking about it. Washington Post is talking about it. Euronews is talking about it. A lot of UK papers are talking about it, but I wanted to read you a little bit of summary in terms of what has actually happened. I'm just going to pause my camera because I've lost the very good thing that I was going to talk to you about. Hold on. Right, I found it. I'm going to read it to you, but I also just want to show you this photograph. That's the photo. Can you see that? Of what the explosion looked like. Looked a bit like a mushroom cloud, to be perfectly honest. It wasn't. But there has been a release of very carcinogenic particles into the air and probably into the water. This is something that actually affects us all. And it's also what Metatron is calling a textbook case for all of us. He's actually asking us that wherever we live in the world, that we just take a look around us at the potential risk factors that we have. Not to go into fear, but, you know, if you live, for example, by a railway, you live beside an airport, or I live by the sea, so that would be, you know, if there was going to be a disaster here, it would probably be coming via the sea. Not wanting to put fear into people, just to be practical. And what he's talking about is having a grab bag that you have your essentials in, that if something were to ever happen, that you can pack up and go quickly. Because the people in this town where it's happened, this place called East Palestine in Ohio, near the Pennsylvania border, were asked to leave their house. It was evacuated. Now, I don't know whether the people have returned. If it was me living there, I would be very cautious at returning now, I'd have to be honest. I did put up a post last night on Instagram and Facebook where I was just reminding people, and I'll remind you in this video, to please activate your Merkaba field around yourself. And if you don't know how to do that, you ask Archangel Metatron and your higher self to do it, because it's a natural field, electromagnetic field that you do have around yourself. But you can't activate it when you're in total fear and panic. You have to go into your heart. You have to be in the energy of love for it to activate fully. But within that Merkaba, you can ask for purified air, for example. I was given the words your own natural ecosystem within the Merkaba field, and you see yourself within it. This was the photograph that I put up last night. You've probably seen that over the years on the internet. That is supposed to represent you within your Merkaba field, and within this field, there is a protection in place. And you can fill that Merkaba field with anything, with colour, with light, but I was being told filtered, purified air and your own ecosystem. You can also throw the Merkaba, or ask for it to be activated, is a better way to put it, around your home, around your workplace, around a school, around your family, that type of thing. I have got a much longer video on Merkaba, which I will link below. You don't need to be an expert in knowing how to do it. It's like everything. It's like trust it and it is so. Okay, trust it and it is so, because you have activated your Merkaba many times, probably without even realising. If not in this life, definitely in other lives. Okay, it's all within you. Let me just read you a little bit about what this is, though, in case people really don't know. Apparently it happened on February the 3rd. A train derailment, and I've heard from many of you in the States that there have been quite a lot of train derailments recently, which is why Metatron's saying just have a little recce of your area. If something were to happen, what is the likely cause of it in my area? So for me, it would be probably the sea, okay? I'm not living in an area where we have potential earthquakes or anything like that. I don't live beside an airport. I don't live beside a railway line. I don't live beside a motorway, that type of thing. We were on the motorway yesterday, you know, and again, when you travel on the motorway, the number of lorries. The thing is, we're becoming awake to what sometimes is being carried on our motorways, on our railway lines, in our airplanes, and also the reluctance and the laziness, actually, to dispose of toxic waste as efficiently as possible, but also with the greatest respect to the environment and to people, and to leave the world better than we found it. That is a whole other aspect of this as well. And I believe Greenpeace have come out today and said something along the lines of, if anything good were to come out of this whole episode in Ohio, it would be that it's a wake-up call for the earth in terms of how we get rid of our toxic waste. I'm going to bring Dr. Masaru Emoto in a moment to also ask him for some help, because this has contaminated the waters there. So an Ohio town is reckoning with the aftermath of a train derailment that unleashed highly toxic chemicals into the air, water and the ground. These are carcinogenic chemicals. It caused a huge, massive fire, displaced residents and threatened public health. I find it just symbolically interesting, not necessarily in a good way, that it happened in a place called East Palestine in Ohio. It takes me straight to the Middle East and the war with Palestine and Israel, and I invoke peace and protection around Palestine and Israel, of course. I'm not taking sides, but it's just, there's something in that really, I was like red alert to that. As soon as I saw it was East Palestine, I thought, hold on a minute, is that just a coincidence? Is something brewing in the Middle East? Anyway, so yeah, it talks about toxic mess, questions about the area's water and soil. The Environmental Protection Agency has said that the air is safe to breathe and the rail company has pledged to clean it up. I cannot believe that I'm even hearing that. I mean, we've gone through 2 years where I'm just going to say it, we've had to wear masks for reasons why we know we've had to wear masks. Many people have felt, I'm not even going to go there. We've had to wear masks for 2 years for a perceived threat or a real threat with regards to a virus, but carcinogenic chemicals creating huge mushroom clouds over a particular town, we're being told that the air is safe to breathe. I mean, come on. Come on. What's the bit I wanted to read to you? Yeah, also 50 cars were involved in this. 11 of the cars that derailed were carrying hazardous materials. Because of the risk of contamination and explosion posed by the chemicals, firefighters couldn't put the blaze out for days. On February the 5th, a drastic temperature change in one of the rail cars created a high probability that it would explode in a catastrophic blast. This is what an Ohio governor said on Tuesday. Evacuations were ordered and the controlled release of vinyl chloride was allowed. It sent a plume of toxic fumes into the air. There have been mass reportings of animal deaths already. Fish dead in the rivers and the streams. Animals being affected or dying. And people that have breathed this air have already having severe after effects from it, burning eyes, sickness, headaches, whatever. So it's a serious situation, this, and it is interesting that it isn't being that well reported, or wasn't up until this point in time. I guess you can't keep a lid on something like this forever. There was also, and I haven't verified this, so I'm willing to be proven wrong, but I did see a film of a reporter, I can't remember where he was from, but he was arrested and led away for trying to report on this with the first day that it happened, or the day after it happened. I think he's been released now, but they didn't like the fact that he was trying to break the story, apparently. That is sending alarming bells as well, isn't it? So let's have a look at it. Let's see what my battery died. So let's pull some cards on this and then we'll get to some practical support. I'm going to just ask Metatron from the Metatron Oracle deck for 2 cards. And let's see what we get. Ohio chemical spill. Sending our love to anybody affected there. Sending the cleansing dragons to the area to help clear the land, the waters, the air. What is there to say, Metatron? Ohio chemical spill. That big toxic cloud. What guidance can we bring through to people, please? We have the wake up call card with the card of joy and happiness. Not a lot of joy and happiness around with this situation. Got the bee. I think he's drawing my attention to the bee. There is a saying, isn't there, that when the bees are decimated, we're in trouble. When the bees can't gather their pollen and pollinate, the crops are in trouble. We have the card of signs on the bottom of the deck. Spirit is with you. Spirit is wanting to help you. You will be given the signs. You need to follow the signs. And by that, I'm talking about, this is a very difficult one. If it was to happen here with me right now, and I was told to evacuate my home, and then I'm being told by somebody like myself on YouTube, you've got to follow the signs. And if the sign is effectively pointing to you need to permanently leave the area, do that. I completely get how absolutely traumatizing and difficult that would be. You have a life where you live. Your kids go to school there. You go to work there. You've got parents that live there. It's really hard to just up sticks and leave. But for some people, they might have to do that. This is heavy. There are some leaders that are going to step up in your area and help you. There are some really good people in your area that are going to step up. And it feels a bit Moses-like. It feels like the energy of a leader that leads a people out of that area. Maybe just temporarily, maybe permanently. Keep wanting to go back to the energy of Palestine and Israel and the Promised Land. Set my people free. There's something in it. There's something relevant in terms of why it happened and why it's in the news in this place called East Palestine. I'm just going to look up, I suppose, East Palestine. If I put it into Google, it's going to come up with this disaster, but I want to see in the Middle East what is happening there. I don't know. I don't know the area well enough. If anyone's in the area, it's 11:11 as I'm looking at this. Could you maybe let me know what's going on in the Middle East, in East Palestine? Maybe there's a movement in the settlements. I really don't know, guys. I don't know. I'm just being drawn there and I'm feeling the energy of set my people free. But this is in relation to the whole world, okay? It's in relation to Ohio as well. What I can tell you from these cards is there are leaders that are going to step up who are of complete light and truth. And you'll be well led. It might not be the people that are currently in positions of leadership. There's something about the bees, the birds and the bees. And of course the birds and the bees links into procreation, fertility. Look after the kids in this area. I'm really not wanting to put fear into this video. But again, if I was actually living there, I would be worried about for my children, bringing them up in the aftermath of this spill. This isn't just a run-of-the-mill spill. This is something that has gone into the land and the waters. And I saw earlier today that this is going to be a moment for the Indigenous elders in that part of the States to speak up. They might even be some of the leaders that come forward because they understand the land. They understand the land there. You need elders that understand the land, that understand the signs of nature, that realise if someone's saying to you, it's okay to breathe the air, but you've got a whole stream full of dead fish. It's not safe to breathe the air. You know, let's step out of the play. I'm not saying this didn't happen, it did happen, but let's stop being played. Let's step into our sovereignty. Let's not forget our power to be able to transmute. I believe we can transmute illness. We can transmute the land. We can transmute the air. But only when we're in this sovereign state. True light warrior state. Not when we're full of fear. You can do this work from a distance, is what I'm hearing. Because it doesn't mean that you necessarily have to go back in there and wade in the rivers to do the work, or get your hands into the earth to do the work. You can do it at safe distance, is what I'm hearing. Safe distance. What is a safe distance? Just going to put some frankincense on, guys, to purify. Frankincense is very good for helping to raise the frequency and the vibration. And when we're talking about these heavy subjects, keep the vibe high. Don't go into fear, don't go into panic. Don't go into worst case scenario. Don't watch some of the stuff that might be feeding that in you. Raise your kundalini, Metatron is saying. There's a reason why the 1111 portal was all about raising kundalini, getting into your untapped energy. Look at that furnace that is within you. That furnace is able to purify and burn off toxicity. Say, for example, you've breathed in some toxic air. What are you going to do with that toxic air within the body, within the lungs, within the cells? Are you going to allow it just to stagnate and stay there? Or are you going to do some form of exercise or technique to move that energy out of you? To move that energy out of you. Whether it's working with kundalini, whether it's breath work, whether it's exhalation work, whether it's anything that's done with intention, okay? Whether it's stomping it out, I'm hearing. Now, I will say at this juncture, I have to put a medical disclaimer up, okay? Because there hopefully will be conventional medical support that will also be offered. Should the need arise, please always seek that out as well. What I am talking about here is complementary help. Very important that you remember that. But I'm just trying to remind us of our sovereignty and our ability to transmute energy. The work that I did a few years ago on 5G, for example, is really very similar. You know, if I had one of these huge, great big 5G masks put outside my house today, I would have a choice point. Do I stay? Do I leave? Or what do I do with it? But I need to do something. I can't just sit here and allow that energy into my body all the time, 24/7. So I did a video called From 5G to 5D about trying to transmute the energies. Because whether you live near a tower or whether it's a mile away, you're still getting the radiation to a degree. We live in a radiated world. This is the truth. We actually live, unfortunately, in a beautiful world, but there's a lot of toxicity. And we're living in an age with this Plutonian energy is eyes wide open to all of it. So do your eyes stay wide open in complete fear and panic and like, oh my God, terror? And there's something where you can be so terrified that actually you go into total apathy and can't move and you don't do anything? Or can we snap ourselves out of it? Or ask Metatron to give us a bit of a push and a shake, or Ashtar, whoever your guide is, and remind you of your God-given power to take your energy back, to transmute. And there isn't just one technique that can help you with this. We bring into it all of our arsenal. And this isn't a war arsenal. This is a spiritual arsenal. Okay? And whatever that is for you, whether it's a lot of shamanic energies and techniques that you use. For me, because I work with the energies of colour and crystals and angelic rays, bringing all that in, the purple ray of transmutation, Archangel Zadkiel, Archangel Jophiel, however odd that card might be, it's not actually, because joy as a vibration is the highest vibration on this planet, and it helps to transmute, to laugh in the face of adversity, rather than just sit in that adversity and stew in it, and for it to become deeply, deeply toxic. Crystals, the one crystal I will give you, I'm sure there are many, but the energy of Shungite. Shungite is a very good water purifier. Very good water purifier. Get some Shungite. Work with Shungite. The energy of Dr. Emoto, I'll bring him in a minute, but Dr. Emoto's work's so important. Dr. Emoto, when he was alive, did much work trying to clean up the waters of Fukushima in Japan after the nuclear reactor meltdown that completely polluted the seas there. It's not talked about anymore. It's still in the waters, but there are very brave leaders still day in, day out doing the work to help transmute it, raise the vibrations of the water there. We can't turn away from this. We have to play our part in helping. And you don't have to be in Ohio. You don't have to be one of the people directly affected. We can all do our part if we have the strength. Okay, if we have the strength. If you've got lots of other stuff going on and you're depleted, it's fine. Remember, we are the tribe, and everybody takes turns to do their role and their bit. And when you're tired, you take your seat at the back. But we do our part in, in turn. But time out definitely needed. Time out definitely needed. I was asking the question of these cards, which I have to say are working brilliantly. Well done. Good creator made these, she said, tongue in cheek. Not really. Claim it, Amanda. Claim it. It's a good deck. Many of you have got the deck. I was asking how much time out is needed, how much time away is needed from the area if you're actually living there. Well, at the moment, I'm not sure, but definitely I'm just being told time out. Going back to that song, have all the time in the world, but I have to get back to my home straight away because I've got this, I've got that. Maybe your health is more important to... I know this is so hard, guys. I completely get, if you're there, how difficult it is to stay away because that's where my life is, that's where my work is. What do you mean I've got to stay away for another week or another 2 weeks? We've got the moon here. We've got the energy of the moon. And I believe we've got another new moon coming up, haven't we? So let's have a look at what's going on with the moon phase. So it looks like we have a full moon, or is it a new moon? A new moon on the 20th, which is also the number 2. This card is a 2. That's Monday. I don't know, guys. I'm not sure. So I'm just going to say I'm not sure. But certainly for now, if it was me, I would be taking some time away from it. Let's see if my Metatron wants to say anything else. As you clean up your body, you clean up the earth. As you clean up the earth, you clean up your body. All is one. A collective effort is going to be required. It's going to bring the community together very strongly. I feel as though that community feel very isolated and very forgotten. And if I was there and the news wasn't even covering it or hadn't been covering it, particularly in the moment of most peril when it had just happened, I would feel pretty disgusted at my government's response. This is a wake-up call for that as well. That actually maybe we are alone when these things happen. Hear me out. You're never alone. You've always got spirit. What I mean is, where are the powers that were? Where is the responsibility? Where is the accountability? I believe there was supposed to be a big local meeting, whether it was last night, a couple of nights ago, and I think the rail company didn't even bother to turn up or something like that. There's a right holy anger. There's a place for holy anger. The card of awakening again on the bottom of the deck. And when I say we're alone, what I mean by that is actually it's a moment where we realise we're not, that who we thought would come to help us and save us and sort it all out don't. So we start to turn to each other. We start to turn to each other. We start to turn to our neighbours. Ohio, East Palestine, Ohio. Violet Flame. Got the Violet Flame card come out for this energy. It's not released yet now, guys, and I almost didn't want to bring its energy in because I don't want to be accused of, oh, you're just saying it because you want to sell it. No, I'm not. It's not even for sale yet. But it is here as an energy, even though it's not bottled up and ready for sale. You know that we've got the Violet Dragon coming in. Okay, so I'm going to bring this into this session with the Violet Flame. Violet Flame, Violet Dragon, the energy of purge, purge, purge. Invoke the Violet Dragon, invoke the Violet Flame around the land, around the town, around the people, around the children, around the animals, around the trees. Just going to sink into nature energy here. Energy of nature. Really just feel like this deep cry from Mother Earth. Yeah. Challenges. The card of challenges and blocks. Betrayal. Oh my goodness. It's pulling that card from Mother Earth. Betrayal. Look at these cards from Mother Earth in relation to this disaster. I have been betrayed. Challenges. And we have the Crown Portal. And I've been betrayed because when I say you, I'm talking here collectively, you've forgotten the divinity. You're in separation. You're not in unity. It's like she's crying for humanity and what it does, and how we don't mop up our mistakes. We don't mop up our spills properly, and we don't take accountability. And it just happens again and again until we get to a place where we say stop. Until we get to a place where through the crown chakra, we bring in a higher vibration to this planet. And it starts with you and it starts with me. This is a rallying call, I feel, from her. Card number 55, the Violet Flame. That could be 55 days. I'm hearing 55 days of intense Violet Flame purification energy. You could set up some grids in your home with the town's name on it. I don't know the name of the river. It'd be nice if we had the name of the river that runs through it or streams that run through it. I don't know the area at all in Ohio, but if you've got mountains or you've got plains or whatever the landmarks are, write those onto the grid as well. Put anything onto the grid that invokes the Violet Flame. The dragons. Get your amethysts out. Your Shungite out. Remember your power to help tip this. Bring in Metatron's Cube. Now this also, let's go back now to you if you're actually affected by this personally. The violet flame and Metatron's Cube, this came up in another video recently that I did. It's coming up as a bit of a theme now. You ask Metatron to run the cube through your body. And the cube spirals down through each chakra, starting from the stellar gateway all the way down to the Earth star. And it spirals with the violet flame and this mechanism, Metatron's Cube. Very powerful sacred geometric structure. So do that, okay? Don't go into, I don't know how to do it, tell me how to do it. No, you know how to do it, okay? We all know how to do this. Your higher self knows. Instruct your higher self and ask Metatron to step in, to place the Metatron's Cube above your crown or above your stellar gateway, and feel as it circles and spirals through your body, chakra by chakra, organ by organ, if you want to. Okay? Actually let it sit in the lungs for a bit as well. It's just rotating. It's purifying. It's cleansing. All the way down, all through the chakras. Down through your bones if you want. Into the earth. And then send the cube into the earth as well. The other thing I mentioned, Merkaba. So yes, very important. Your Merkaba is a protective electromagnetic field. It's you. It's part of who you are. It's not separate from you. Ask Archangel Metatron to help you activate it through your heart energy, through the energy of love. And then just feel as you are within, where is the photograph? That structure, breathing in purified air. Ask for a, I'm hearing the word recipe, but prescription would be a better word. Ask for a prescription within the Merkaba that you need to help you purge, cleanse, stay safe, protected, okay? And as I say, you can also ask for that to be activated around your children, your workplace, your home. You also imagine a silver cord going down into Mother Earth, okay? And a golden cord going up into the wider universe. But you ask Metatron to activate it with your higher self. That's the important bit, okay? Metatron knows how to activate it. You know how to activate it. Your higher self does, okay? It will definitely help. Anything else to say on this? I was going to talk about Dr. Emoto, wasn't I? Let's just have a bit of water before I bring Dr. Emoto through. He's not very impressed that I've got no water left in my mug, so I'll go and do that later, Dr. Emoto. Keep drinking the water, but pure water, okay? Bottled water. Keep drinking bottled water. Flush yourself through. He's also talking about washing down any outdoor porch or driveway. That's going to be difficult with bottled water. You can't necessarily do that, can you? But maybe he's showing me the energy of rain, but it's interesting. He was a scientist, of course. It's like he's in his room. I'm seeing him in his room, and he's got his notes and he's looking like this because he was just saying wash down your driveway, and he was saying, oh no, they can't do that yet. What about the rain? He said this thing, the rain, oh no, can't do that yet because the rain might be full of this toxicity as well. So he's just going through, he's working on it is what I'm wanting to say. He's working on it. He's working with you in your community. He's one of the leaders that is helping you, okay? So you can call on Dr. Emoto. Let's just try and bring him in. So I'm going to have to just stop for a moment and go and have a wee. I mean, this is all related, isn't it? Because it's flushing through. So let me do that, and then I'm going to come back and channel Dr. Emoto. Yeah, flushing the body through. Also, when I was just washing my hands, he was saying it might be, if the waters aren't quite ready to be bathed in, maybe, we'll just be cautious with that. Because remember, if there's toxicity within the water, it can go through the skin barrier. Use hand sanitizer, wet wipes, that type of thing. Just maybe in the for the next few days. or longer. I'm sorry, I'm not being given a time on this, but it's just a suggestion. The other thing is, if you were to wash your hands in water, don't then, it's like some of the guidance we got during the pandemic, don't then touch your eyes, because the membranes, your eyes, your nose, your ears, it can, just be careful with that, okay? But hand sanitizers, even though if you use them forever, they're not great because they can suppress your immune system. In certain circumstances, they can be a good thing to use. And I'm being shown they have a purpose here if you haven't got access to fresh, clean, running water. Okay. This is his deck of cards, which I'm just using. Let's just see. Okay. It's very, what he's saying is it's very, okay, I'm going into the energy here. He's taking me back to something like Fukushima and how he tried to help with that and the mindset that he had to get into to be able to help. And he's saying that when, of course, it first happened, there is an energy of anger with regards to how was this allowed to happen, and just a sense of dismay, of course, and sorrow, but anger as well that this could happen to the waters of the world. When are we ever going to learn that whole thing? But he said to stay in that mindset isn't helpful from a healing perspective. You have to get yourself back into a higher vibrational state. And we have the energy of love for humanity rather than hatred for humanity. And like, because even the energy of when are people going to wake up, it's not our job to wake other people up. People will wake up when they're going to wake up. People will change their ways when they're going to change their ways. Governments will change their ways when we make them accountable, when we change our ways, etc. So we have to get to a place of love for humanity, remembering our love for humanity, our love for Mother Earth, and affection and gratitude for life, maybe, for gratitude along with the energy of joy, again, is a very high vibrational state of being. These two water crystals here obviously link into what I'm talking about. This is the energy of affection and gratitude as an ice crystal. This one is the energy of love for humanity. Let's have a third one, please, Dr. Emoto. What else is there to say with regards to cleaning up the energy in Ohio and the surrounding area? He says because it doesn't just affect the surrounding area, it affects the bedrock. Is that the right way to describe it? The bedrock. It's going deep into the core of Mother Earth when we have these accidents. So it's sending healing energy not just to the waters of the world, but to the core of Mother Earth, who takes the water into her being, into her belly, who then has to expel it and transmute it in some way. He's shown me the energy of water geysers. We don't have them in this country, but the parks, I know you have them in the USA, the geysers that let off the steam, volcanoes, I suppose they are, is it? Volcanic geysers activity, as a way that Mother Earth can, is transmuting. I don't know, there's something about diseased or toxic water going into the belly of Mother Earth, and then Mother Earth, because it then, when it works its way back up, it has to go through a natural filtering process, is what he's saying. So it filters down into Mother Earth, and by the time it reaches her belly, it's already transmuted to a degree, because it's gone through the energy of rock and crystal and sediment, etc. And then it rises back up. So it's as though I'm being shown the energy of Mother Earth and her core and all of the different strata of rock and crystal being a natural filter for this. But it takes time, is what he's saying. It takes time. Honouring the process that Mother Earth does there. Honouring her process. Giving thanks and gratitude that she does that. That she's able to recover. That she's able to reset. Anything else to say, Dr. Emoto? Dr. Emoto. Did one just fall out? That one? Oh, okay. Right, interesting cards. This is the water crystal. This is the third one he's giving us. And it's the energy of honesty. That we need to be brutally honest with ourselves as a species. That we need honesty from those that govern us, but we also need to be honest with ourselves. Where are the times that we have allowed toxic residue into the streams, into Mother Earth? And you might say, I've never done that. How many of you have dumped plastic or batteries or, I don't know, anything that isn't healthy for Gaia? And we've done that because we haven't bothered to recycle or we can't be bothered. It's a brutal look in the mirror, because what manifests collectively at an extreme level is always a reflection of what is within. We don't like that fact, but honesty. Honesty in terms of where we go from here. Honesty in terms of the full repercussions of events such as these, disasters such as these. He includes Fukushima as well. It's an ongoing purge. It's an ongoing return to health for the planet, for the people, for the waters of the world. When are we going to be honest with what is in our waters, how our waters are tampered with? I feel a fourth one. Oh. They were just, no, I won't take those. They were just, I'd have to pick them up. Hold on. Fourth one. He's saying go back. He doesn't like the fact I just did that. And I realised as soon as I put it back into the deck, I thought, no, hold on, that was relevant, because it was linked into the cranial hado, peace of mind. Cranial sacral therapy, the fluids in the spine, the healing of that, the ability to be a cranial sacral therapy is what he's giving me here. I don't know many people that do it. There's a few that do it. But equally, if you can't get your hands on an expert, excuse the pun, or they can't get their hands on you, it's to do with, this card here is to do with the Kundalini energy, okay? This one here is to do with, this is the fire energy. This is the water energy within the body. The cranial fluid from memory goes up and down the spine, okay? So this is all about the spine. The spine and the chakras here radiating all of that Kundalini fire. And then we have the energy of the spine and the chakras, which are also at the back, remember, of course, responding to the fluid that is there. So doing some work here to restore and help heal and put positive affirmations into your cranial fluid. Also the cranial fluid around the brain. I assume there's cranial fluid around the brain. Wherever it is. Again, you don't need to be an expert on this. Go to your higher self. Go to Dr. Emoto as a guide. He is a guide for many of us. And ask him to help you, ask him to show you, go into meditation. You can use the energy of the water elemental, for example, or you can just drink water. You can have anything. You can sit by the sea, you can sit by a lake. Let's just see. So let's use the water elemental here. And I'm going to put it around my crown, but I'm also going to imagine now that it's spraying and it's being sent down my spine. Okay, it's being sent down my spine. So from the top of my skull, all the way down to my tailbone, the energy of water. And it's just flushing through and flushing through and flushing through. And taking out any debris, taking out any toxicity, taking out any cellular imprint of disease. That's important. Because if you've breathed something in that is potentially toxic, it goes into the waters, it goes into the blood, etc. And it can stay seeded as an imprint of a potential, something potential. Let's just put that. So if you can take out the seeds of potentiality in the fluid, then you are helping yourself to heal future problems. So that's what he's showing me. Okay. So obviously I've just done that in a minute. You would take a lot longer to do it properly. Just to sit and feel into the fluid, the cranial fluid within the spine, But as I say, working from the skull all the way down to your tailbone, and just bringing in an energy of purity and healing, and also the energy of peace of mind. This comes with peace of mind. So it's removing the energy of worry and fear in terms of, oh my God, what have I breathed in? What's going to happen to me? You know, this is carcinogenic energy. What might happen in 10 years' time? Replacing that, that's not going to do you any good at all. Replacing it with the energy of peace of mind, that I'm healing my body every breath. I'm healing my body with every move, because, you know, to move, linking into the spine as well. And if you're, you know, in a wheelchair or something like that, you can still just move. Whatever you can move, move it, wiggle it, okay? So that's Dr. Emoto's energy. Anything else to say? Sorry, when I do this, I'm always onto something. So this is really important what I've just said. Dr. Emoto, anything else? The waters, the animals, the fish. Start at source point, he's saying. Start at the source point, because nature is, we then, you know, we go from the rivers and the streams to the sea, and yes, ultimately all waters lead outward, but start at the source. So start, I don't know the area, wherever this happened in East Palestine, wherever the nearest water is, natural water, start there, okay? Anything else to say? He's saying just that I am helping you, and he's showing me putting on a suit. It looks a bit like a Hamzat suit, to be perfectly honest. It's a protective suit. I don't know whether he used to wear things like that when he was helping with the Fukushima cleanup, but that's what I'm seeing. It's a white suit, and but he's doing it in terms of let's get to work. Come on, let's get to work. And I feel as though he's so powerful on the other side. He was powerful when he was here on this side, but he's really powerful on the other side. And he's summoning a mighty army, he's saying, to help with the cleanup. But he says, we're not going to do it for you. We're going to assist you, because this is also about humanity needing to come together, neighbourhoods needing to come together, communities needing to come together, people needing to take accountability, okay? It's also about demanding change, he's saying, demanding change. And here he's talking about the whole much wider issue of toxic clear-up, and how do we get rid of our waste? How do we get rid of our waste safely? I am going to leave this discussion here for today, because I think I've taken it probably as far as I can go, and don't want this video to become too long. Just see if there's anything from this deck. I'm not sure there is, but let's just see. Okay, this is a deck that's called Auspicious Symbols. Card number 38, 3 and 8 make 11, Metatron's number, Ashtar. It says you are being invited to connect to the healing power of plants and animals. Okay, the healing power of plants and animals. So it's remembering that everything is affected by this, to include in your healing the energy, helping to heal the plants, helping to heal the animals, but also probably that there is a plant that can help detoxification at this time, and also that there is an animal that wants to come forward to offer strength. And I know the deck I need to get. It's over there. Let me just read this, see what it says about this card. So it says the goddess Ashtar is a powerful Orisha from the Yoruba mythology. As one of the mighty deities of African culture, she is recognised as the healing goddess with deep ties to the forest and all the animals within it. She is associated with Nigeria and was brought to the New World as a wise woman and a healer. Not only is she the overseer of forests, but also over the powerful herbal remedies that grow there. She holds the secrets of botany, herbal healing, and of the wild nature that bounds within the forest. It's believed that she is associated with wild wind and can carry people away to the land of the dead and back, transforming them. Wow, so she's stepping forward as well as a help. It says she's a nature goddess, here to share the message of the environment and healing. Her intention is to explore the power found in the elements of earth, water, fire and air, particularly the wind. You may call her mastery and wisdom forth as you dive into herbal medicine. So there's a practice here. This lady that wrote this deck is called Alison de Nicola. I'll put the link below. It says, following the wind in meditation is an excellent way to connect to this goddess. Find a comfortable seat outdoors. Close your eyes, allow yourself to feel grounded. Begin to feel your senses growing and become aware of the sounds around you. Follow the element of air, which is the motion of the wind. Let the wind take you through sounds, sensory information and nature's powerful remedy. Where is the wind taking you? What do you need to hear? So it's basically, she's helping us to connect to the energy of air and what has been invoked in air, which is toxic. What can we bring into the air that is healing? What qualities, what medicine can we bring into the air? What prescription does the air need? So Anja, Nigerian energy, goddess energy, the wild winds. Because just as the wind can blow something in that is negative, so can the wind bring in something that is positive, that is healing, okay? There's the expression that the wind can come in and blow away the cobwebs. So anything is possible here. Anything is possible. I'm going to end with an animal card and I'm just going to go and grab it. It's Stephen Farmer's deck. I can see it over there. Hold on. Okay, yeah, messages from your animal spirit guides, Stephen D. Farmer. Let's see which animal wants to speak for whatever reason. And we are linking into the energy of Ohio and the chemical spill disaster, how people can respond to that, how people can cope and support each other through that, what Mother Earth needs, what the animal needs. Which animal wants to come through and say something with regards to this situation, please? The polar bear. It says, stand up for yourself and speak your truth respectfully and compassionately with no attachment to outcome. So the polar bear coming forward as a symbol of leadership here, of power, as the card says, of speaking your truth, of not being afraid to speak your truth. What's that expression? To speak even though your voice wobbles or something. Now is a time to not be silent. Now is a time to speak up. It's about fearlessness, leadership, strength, nobility, conservation, intensity, adaptability. Ask for what you want and see what happens. Don't get worked up about how it turns out. You may or may not get what you want, but at least your chances are much better if you do ask. So, yeah, a powerful moment of focus on the environment, on animals, on our rivers, on our people, on what we do with our waste. Sending you love. Going to leave it there. I'll put all the details of the decks that I've used below. We've covered quite a lot in this video. I hope you found it empowering. Remember to stay in your power and be there for each other. Okay, please share and like this video. It really does make a difference in terms of new people coming to the channel who probably do need these messages. Thank you so much. Lots of love. See you next time. Bye-bye for now. Bye.